about Adani, and I've explained that this is a reputable company, in my knowledge. This company actually has done very many PPP projects. I mentioned that we visited India, the invitation of then Chief Minister of State of Gujarat, Narendra Modi, and he introduced us to several Indian conglomerates. Adani was one of them, and was Mr. Ratan Tata, who was also there at the conference that we attended. And then we visited a project that was done through a PPP by Adani in a place called Mundra. This was a marsh land next to the sea, 5,000 hectares of land, which was granted to the Adanis by the government of Mr. Modi. They drained the swamp and constructed a deep sea port to import coal from Indonesia. And then they put up a power plant, coal-fired, 4,600 megawatts in that place. The Tata Group then also came and put up another second power plant, another 4,600 megawatts, a total of 9,200 megawatts of power in that same spot only. Not only that, they also built a railway line, 100 kilometers, to connect that port to the major railway network. A sleeping village of 5,000 people mushroomed to become a small town of 200,000 people, as many industries rushed to go and invest in that place. They also built an airport in that same place. This was a real success story of a PPP. Then also the Bombay airport, which had been fly-infested international airport. When it was given through PPP, they took it over and converted it into a very modern, first-class airport today, it is today. The same thing with the airport in Delhi. So what I'm trying to say is that we've seen firsthand what some of these companies are able to do, what PPP can do to an economy. Otherwise, you're likely to try to condemn very reputable companies. As you see stories like Adani did. Adani company conglomerate is worth over $200 billion. It cannot be an Adani gate. Deal with the issues as they are. If some people have made mistakes, let them own up that they made some mistakes. But do not begin to condemn innocent companies who are basically doing normal commercial transactions. There can be no doubt, because Talibas is about planned infrastructure upgrades. It tests Kenya's viability for PPP framework. There can be no doubt that Kenya desperately and urgently needs to upgrade its infrastructure of roads, railways, ports, airports, electricity, and cyber connectivity. Development of new technologies, equipment, and even new competitors require that our existing infrastructure be brought to par with the rest of the world today. But there is equally no doubt that Kenya lacks the massive financial resources that are needed for the country to meet these infrastructure needs. The principal source of public revenue, which is the raising of taxes, has ran out of favor with our citizens. The public is not in the mood for higher taxes that lead to high costs of living. The public is equally not in favor of more borrowing from bodies like the International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank, or even from other countries, given the debt burden we are already grappling with. Under the circumstances, the most viable, tested, and reliable means through which we can sustainably address the country's infrastructure needs is through public-private partnerships, what's called PPPs. This is the route that has been preferred by many countries that are undergoing similar challenges to Kenya's with regard to delivering public services under difficult economic situations. I have therefore followed with a lot of interest the current debate surrounding the efforts to improve JKA and our energy sector through PPP arrangements. I am aware that for several years now, Jomo Kenyatta International Airport has been in need of overhaul and upgrade, bring it to par the new airports being developed by our neighboring countries. In fact, when we were in the Grand Coalition government, we granted a contract, what we call the Greenfield Airport, to a Chinese company. But that again was later cancelled. The airport handles about 7.5 million passengers annually, but 4 million of those passengers use temporary tented structures. Again, in the last financial year, JKA handled 8.5 million passengers, meaning it has already optimized its passenger capacity. It's a runway that is designed for 35 movements per hour. It's already doing 21 movements and is set to operate fully in full capacity by 2028, 4 years from now. Time is definitely running out for the overhaul, modernization, and expansion of the JKA. I'm also aware that Kenya has, for possibly a longer period, been in great need of infrastructure to receive and distribute electricity being generated from new local investments in green energy and also from new investments in power stations in neighboring countries. I knew this when I was even Minister for Energy. The country has $500 billion financing gap for the 20-year transmission master plan that is estimated at $5.3 billion. In the meantime, Kenyans grapple daily with inadequate transmission capacity, insufficient evacuation capacity, system reliability, technical losses due to overloading of existing lines, and limited transmission coverage in remote areas. Having agreed that PPP is the way to go in light of the financial challenges we are currently undergoing, I wish to make the following observations. 1. The country needs to protect the framework of PPPs and in the country needs to protect the framework of PPPs and the investors that show interest in putting money into our public services and utilities. Otherwise, no investor will set foot here. 2. In the interest of protecting the principle and framework of PPPs and potential investors, we have a responsibility to ensure our processes are transparent, cost-effective, and accord equal opportunity to all who would be investors in line with the PPPs Act. We all have misgivings about how the current proposed PPPs concerning the JKA and power distribution have been processed, which has resulted in a raging debate over the involvement of the Indian firm in the airport and energy sector projects. Unfortunately, these misgivings have also resulted in a lot of misinformation regarding the investors who have made the PPP's proposals. I have had a chance to interact with the PPP proposals in question. It is my duty to state what I know about them. When I was the Prime Minister of Kenya, I was introduced to the company and its activities by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, while he was then the Chief Minister of the state of Gujarat. Indeed, Prime Minister Modi organized for a Kenya government mission to visit Gujarat, and I had the opportunity to visit this company's infrastructure projects in that state that included a port, a power plant, a railway line, and an airstrip developed out of what was a swamp donated by the government of India. I'm talking about Adani group of companies. I also visited the city of Mumbai to see the electricity projects set up by the company, where it serves over 13 million consumer meters in metropolitan Mumbai and the industrial hub of Mundra Special Economic Zone. Adani Energy Solution Limited has a cumulative transmission network of 21,783 circuit kilometers of power transmission lines and 61,687 megavolts ampere transmission capacity. The company owns more than energy infrastructure than Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania combined. In the same city of Mumbai, I visited the international airport that had been overhauled and upgraded by the company and turned from a collapsing, degenerate airport to a first-class facility. Those who have been to Bombay Airport confirm what I'm saying here. We must ensure that the discharge by investors of their responsibilities under PPP is secured by performance bonds guaranteed by credible banking institutions. But as we do the above, we must remember that PPP proposers are businessmen and participate in these projects to make profits. We must also remember that we are not the only investment destination in the world, and that if we have punitive terms, investors will simply go to the next country. Given the current financial status of the country, PPP is the only way out of cash incentive projects for these projects. If we plant doubts in our capacity to handle the PPPs, we must be prepared for a prolonged period of development drought and risk being overtaken by our neighbors. The ongoing energy and airport projects, therefore, present a critical test that could make. Ongoing energy and airport projects, therefore, present a critical test that could make or break our ability to compete in the field of infrastructure development for a considerable period.